I never imagined my life would come to this moment. Sitting in the living room of the house I had paid for, clutching a pen, and staring at the papers my wife demanded I sign. "Sign or get out," she said, her eyes sharp, her voice cold as winter. I could barely recognize the woman I had married. The warmth, the laughter, the promises, they were gone, replaced by a calculating, distant stranger. I picked up the pen with hands that trembled, not from fear, but from the betrayal that had been building over months, maybe years. Every glance, every laugh with another man I had ignored, every subtle insult had been an arrow in my chest, piercing silently, painfully. And now it had come to this. A house, my sanctuary, my investment, being used as a pawn in a game I never agreed to play. My mind raced. I had worked years to provide for my family. Every late night, every sacrifice, every dream deferred, all to create stability, to make a home. And now, that home was being ripped from me, not because of debt, not because of inability, but because she decided I was no longer welcome, no longer deserving. The pen felt heavier than the weight of my heart. I sighed, exhaled slowly, and signed the papers. I slid them across the table, without a word. She smirked, triumphant, as if the house itself had been the prize she had been waiting for. I stood, picked up the keys I had once handed to her with love, and placed them on the counter. A final act of release, of letting go. I didn't look back. I walked away from the house, from her, from everything I had built with hope and trust. That night, sleep didn't come. The streets were empty, the city lights mocking my solitude. I replayed every insult, every argument. Every night I had felt her distance. And beneath the rage, beneath the sorrow, a quiet, dangerous thought crept in. I was free. Free from the chain of a marriage that had been suffocating. Free from the lies, the whispers, the betrayal. But freedom tasted bitter, without someone to share it with. The next morning, my phone rang. I almost ignored it, but curiosity, tinged with a mix of dread and amusement, made me answer. "She's calling me screaming," my lawyer later told me, the edges of his voice sharp with disbelief. "Do you have any idea what you just let him do?" I listened to the echo of his words, feeling a strange mixture of vindication and sorrow. My wife had tried to trap me, manipulate me, take away what was mine by legal or emotional means, and yet, in her rush to claim victory, she had underestimated me, underestimated the consequences of my calm decision to walk away. I met Elena the following week. It wasn't planned. Life has a cruel way of introducing moments of light in the midst of darkness. She was waiting at a coffee shop, sketchbook open, hair falling carelessly over her shoulders, the scent of jasmine and coffee intertwining. Our eyes met, and for the first time in months, I felt human again. Seen, recognized. I told her everything. The humiliation, the betrayal, the rage that had twisted into despair, the moment I signed away a house that meant everything to me. She listened, not with pity, not with judgment, but with a softness that made the edges of my anger dull. Her hand brushed mine across the table, tentative but grounding, a lifeline I hadn't known I needed. We started seeing each other, slowly at first, cautiously, because I was broken and my heart had learned the weight of deceit. But in her presence, I remembered laughter. I remembered warmth. I remembered what it felt like to be wanted, not for what I could provide, but for who I was. Weeks turned into months, and I realized something terrifyingly beautiful. I had been living a half-life in my marriage, and what I had thought was love had been something else entirely. Control, entitlement, a manipulation of trust. Elena wasn't perfect, and neither was I, but she gave me dignity. She gave me permission to feel, to breathe, to hope again. Then the call came from my ex. She was screaming, threatening, trying to twist reality into a story where I had wronged her. But I didn't flinch. I didn't argue. I simply remembered the house, the keys, the papers I'd signed without anger, only resolve. And I realized she was more furious about losing her illusion of control than losing me, because I had stopped being a pawn. I had reclaimed my life. I think about that night often, the pen in my hand, the weight of betrayal pressing down on me, and the first step out the door. It wasn't just a walk away from a house. It was a walk toward freedom, toward truth, toward the possibility of real love. Elena became more than a lover. She became a mirror reflecting the parts of me I thought I had lost. I never looked back. I didn't need to. The house was just walls and a roof. What mattered was the air I breathed outside, the sun on my face, and the woman beside me who reminded me that life is meant to be lived with honesty, passion, and respect. Sometimes I wonder if she realizes that the anger she felt wasn't about losing a house. It was about losing control over a life she had never truly understood. And maybe that's why she screamed at her lawyer the next day. Maybe that's why her pride hurt so much. I felt a pang of sympathy, but it was fleeting, like a shadow on a bright morning. I had finally walked away from betrayal, humiliation, and a marriage built on lies. I had finally walked into a life where I was seen, valued, and loved for being myself. And in that life, for the first time in years, I felt whole.